The following is a King-Fisher Media production.
Hey guys, you're listening to the In the Blood podcast. I am your host, AC Bergen-Fischer, and thank you so much for listening, whether you are a new or returning listener. I'd like to invite you to find a quiet place where you can consider what's being shared with an open mind and a receptive heart. Before we begin, though, the following disclaimer. I am not a therapist, and nothing presented here should be considered as therapy. If you feel that therapy would be beneficial, please seek out a licensed therapist who you trust. There are twists and turns in the road that none of us can anticipate. But with each of these twists and turns, there is also opportunity. Earlier this week, I had a clear idea of what I was going to talk about today. I did a lot of thinking and I wrote some extremely detailed notes, but when I sat down to record, nothing was actually coming out right. First, I thought I needed to take a short break and then start over, but nope. My next step was to try a different topic based on notes for next week's episode, but same result. I hated it. Still nope. So what was my problem? I kept getting stuck on this question, and eventually I realized that the problem wasn't with me so much as the approach I was taking. I realized that I had set myself up for disappointment and failure because my expectations were at odds with the reality of the moment. My expectation was to record 25 minutes of content. My expectation was to record 25 minutes of content. The reality of the moment was that something shorter was going to happen. My expectation was to be in the mood to talk about a certain topic. But the reality of the moment was that my heart and my attention were focused somewhere else. That somewhere or something, however you want to look at it, was on a conversation I had earlier this week. That conversation had also deviated from expectations, but I think it did so in the most beautiful way. I was speaking with a client who had come into my life an overwhelmed, brokenhearted, and hopeless estranged mother. Our routine was to spend an hour every Wednesday morning together where she would waver and I would support her. So my expectation this week was to offer that scheduled dose of support. The reality of the moment, though, was that she had reached a place of clarity and healing that meant that our weekly talks were coming to an end. She shared with me the precious details of her journey. She offered a look at the tragically beautiful pain that she now felt equipped to navigate. And she thanked me for walking beside her. In turn, I shared with her how much walking beside her had helped me as well. How I appreciated the courage and the trust necessary to expose her most vulnerable emotions. My expectation was to support, to inform, and to validate. The reality, though, was that I got something I desperately needed at that exact moment, which was her telling me that my investment of time was valuable. That I served an important purpose, that I was valuable, and that I was important. Maybe this wasn't the recording that any of us expected, but I hope it serves as a reminder that sometimes getting what we need comes as a byproduct of deviating from the plan. So I know this was short, but it was honest, and I hope you appreciated it. Until next week, my friends, much love.